Hello beautiful, and welcome to the second video in this two-part series of 15 reasons why it isn't your weight making you unhappy. So if you haven't already, go back and find part 1 where I talk about the 7 external obstructions to your unhappiness, and now we're going to get into the 8 internal obstructions to what's really keeping you from reaching your happiness. But before we get started, I would like to introduce myself, and I am Kelly, and I am a love body mentor. I help women create a deeper connection to themselves as they listen to the woman within, learn who they truly are, and the big one, love every single part of themselves again. We as women have spent too much of our lives hating who we are and hating our bodies, and it's time for all of that to stop and to realize that we can love ourselves, every single part of us, right now, in this very moment, that it is possible. Because for decades, I believed that it wasn't possible. So I didn't, well, as much as I tried to be better and to feel better and to look better, I could never really get there. So that's why I wrote the 15 reasons why it isn't your weight making you unhappy, because I truly believe that it was my weight making me unhappy. And it was so liberating when I realized that it wasn't my weight. My weight was just a symptom, and that there was many other things that I could do to love myself right now. It's been a long journey, but it's been the most worthwhile journey I think I've ever been on. So let's get started and talk about these 7 internal obstructions. So what are these internal obstructions that are stopping you from finding your magical happiness? And the reason I call it magical is because it is magical. And once you begin to free yourself of the internal and external obstructions, something inside you changes. There's a feeling deep within you that is so new, it's so mysterious and so exhilarating. It's like it comes from somewhere beyond our senses and beyond our understanding. And depending on how old you are when you are listening to this, your happiness may have been displaced maybe only a year ago or a decade ago or even a lifetime ago. And I can't quite pinpoint the time when my happiness began to move out of my mind and my body, but I'm almost certain it happened when I was quite young, when I was still a toddler. And I've actually had a couple of kinesiology sessions where they work with your body to discover memories and feelings that are held deep inside you that you don't quite remember. And they cause you to behave the way that you do. There's old traumas and events and experiences, and all of that is just kept deep inside you, and you're living with that, but you don't always realize that you are. And so our bodies, they're full of beliefs and memories and thoughts and feelings about old traumas and experiences and things that we've said and done, and things that have been said and done to us. And they all drive who we are today. And they stop us from following our dreams, and they stop us from believing in ourselves to the point where we're paralyzed with fear, and they stop us from finding our magical happiness. But that is really just one side of the coin, because we do have good memories too. But unfortunately, the good memories, the good feelings, and the good beliefs we have about ourselves are all but obliterated by the bad memories. We hold on to the bad stuff like a blankie. It somehow gives us the security we need because we believe in the bad stuff more than the good stuff. We could have 30 30 amazing compliments from friends and families and people that we don't even really know. But there's one negative comment, and that's the thing that we hold on to and that we believe in and that we obsess about. And that one comment just steals any happiness and joy and pleasure we have about ourselves. So thinking back on your life, when do you believe that your happiness began to just seep out of your mind and your body? And how long do you think you've been searching for it? And how can you find it again? What will happen when you do find your magical happiness? Will you even recognize it? Is it just going to jump out at you and say, honey, I'm home? Probably not. And well, it might, because it's different for everyone, because everyone is so different. So let's start unraveling the internal obstructions that are keeping you from reaching your inner, beautiful, magical happiness that really have absolutely nothing to do with how much you weigh and what your body looks like. So number one are your beliefs, your false beliefs and your limiting beliefs. So what are your beliefs? Well, your beliefs, they're a function of the brain that help you to make sense of the world. And when you're a kid, your mind made sense of the experiences you had and the things that were said to you. And in your child's mind, you took those words and those experiences and then you turned them into something that you could understand. And we took our parents' word as truth and we believed in what they told us. And we took what others said and did to us as truth as well. And we believed in those as well. But it wasn't until either we or somebody else really challenged those beliefs. And that's when we realized they were probably not true in the first place. We have held on to them for far too long, allowing them to just really radiate into the core of our mind and our body, causing us to behave according to that belief. And they limit us. Our beliefs limit our ability to be who we truly are and to find our magical happiness. You know, if we believe that we are hopeless, that we're not enough, and we're unworthy and unlovable and all those things, then we move through life never reaching our unlimited potential for greatness. We all have this unlimited potential for greatness. It is inside every single one of us. So it really is possible for every single one of us to question, challenge, confront and change any belief that you have. And you get to replace it with one that is so much more empowering. Remember, you get to choose because you have the power inside of you. So I'm going to leave you with this little quote from Mahatma Gandhi for our number one internal obstruction. Okay, so your beliefs, they become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Just think about that. All right, moving to number two, and this is that negative thinking and that inner dialogue that is inside your mind. It's a constant dialogue. And this dialogue, well, it tells you all sorts of things. It's like, oh, you look fat today. Are you going to eat that for lunch? Doesn't look very healthy. Why are you even bothering going to the gym? You look ridiculous. And what do? We listen. We listen to every single word. But the horrible part about this mean dialogue, and it is incredibly mean, is that we believe it. We believe every single horrible word that runs through our mind. But this dialogue is really actually only a monologue, because there's one voice inside your mind yelling mean things at you and putting you down. Would you stand on a street corner and yell those things at people who are walking by, telling them that they're ugly and fat and stupid and that they're hopeless and they're unworthy? No, you wouldn't. Why? Because you were nicer than that to other people. You know, saying those things would be hurtful and they'd be mean and just really plain awful. So why do we think that it's okay to say those things to ourselves? Well, it's because there's no one to stop it. Well, that's what we think, but there is. Because you have a voice. You get to override all of those mean, horrible words. So it's time to start a true dialogue with yourself. Use kind words, loving words, and be as kind and loving to yourself as you are to others. If you say something mean to you, then you get the right of reply. Again, you get to question, challenge, confront, and change those thoughts that make you feel horrible about yourself. And your magical happiness will begin to release itself the more you shut down those horrible, horrible thoughts and replace them with kind, loving, and forgiving thoughts. So number 3 is your feelings about yourself. Whether you're unworthy, not enough, and your confidence. And to go along with that horrible inner dialogue are the feelings that are associated with them. So every thought turns into a feeling. And it may not last very long, or it could last several weeks, even months. Like my shitty thoughts about myself used to send me into what I would call my hole. I could be in there for months at a time. My feelings sat inside me like a ton of bricks, and they really influenced how I lived every day. Everyone wants to feel great. We want to feel happy. But when the feelings are not so great and not so happy, it can turn your life completely upside down. We can go into a deep depression and never want to get out of bed. We can eat the entire contents of the fridge. And we harm ourselves in so many ways. Just stop those not so good feelings from staying in our body. But when we get the great feelings, wow, we really can do amazing things. We want to conquer the world and hold on to those feelings forever. So what if you made the choice to let some feelings go? And to understand you have control over your feelings just as much as you do over the thoughts and beliefs in your mind. Yet there is one big thing, one big part of feeling feelings that most people refuse to recognize. And that is that there will always be good feelings and not so good feelings. Life is not always one big happy vacation. At some point we go back to reality and the high wears off. Life happens, shit happens. We will never outrun the bad parts of life. We will never only have the good feelings. As I've said, with all of the obstructions so far, the same goes for feelings. You get to question, challenge, confront, and change them. You always have the power within you to turn your not so good feelings into good, great, and amazing feelings. Your feelings and your thoughts run together. They are linked together, and you can change either one of them at any time. And you change one, you're going to change the other. You change one, you're going to change the other. And this brings us to number 4, which is about jealousy and competition and idolizing. So when you see a skinny woman, what do you think of her? Are you jealous? Do you feel compelled to compete with her body and her looks? Maybe you idolize her because you think she has the perfect life and the perfect body. And all of these feelings and thoughts and beliefs about other women well, they're delaying your happiness. And jealousy and idolizing and competition, they can be pretty destructive. And you behave in ways that you probably have never imagined possible. You lose yourself even more to feelings of hopelessness and hatred and depression and sadness and loneliness. And instead of being jealous of another woman because of how she looks, or trying to outdo her, or even idolizing her body and her life, embrace who she is. She's probably got insecurities just like you. So recognize your own insecurities and find a healthy, fun way to change them. You deserve to look at another woman and say, yeah, she is different to me, but we are both amazing, smart, funny, beautiful women. Number 5, failure. Failure, well, it's huge. It's debilitating. It evokes feelings of hopelessness. It causes people to give up and stop doing what they want to do, doing things that they love. But what if failure was not a bad thing? What if failure was not meant to stop us at all? What if failure was simply just a way of learning? If you've ever been on a diet that ended after only 3 or 4 days, and let's face it, who hasn't, you've no doubt felt like a failure. You've punished yourself somehow because you failed, and you non-stop told yourself off because you couldn't make it past day 4 of a 30-day diet. Then the next fad diet came along. You promised yourself you will make it to the end this time. You'll be really, 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 really good. And you'll finally get skinny and be happy. But this time, you made it to 2 weeks. And then, boom, you had a bad day. So you head to the fridge to stuff your face silly. You thought, well, why not? I've ruined it anyway. It's just like you've always done, because you are hopeless. And you can't do anything right. So here's the truth. You are not a failure. The diet is. And every time you fail at something, you're actually being given a lesson. So instead of seeing things in a failing sense, ask yourself, why didn't that work for me? What can I do differently next time? Or what is preventing me from actually achieving this? So when you ask yourself the questions, instead of beating yourself up, you are going to find the answers. You are going to be given a new way to succeed next time. Your happiness isn't going to come when you believe you're a failure. Your happiness will rise out of you as you receive the answers you need and allow the success to come in a way you may never have imagined. And one true way of getting your happiness back, and I said this in the last video, it's to never diet again. Okay, no more. And this leads us into number 6. You've lost all trust in yourself and who you are. And while I was on my own magical quest to find my magical happiness, life took me down lots of different paths. I would venture down one path but end up somewhere completely different. My life has been a series of unfamiliar paths, and each new path would find me fumbling in the darkness, and I'd be terrified and alone. And I was so scared of what I might find along that path, and whether I was actually metaphorically going to be attacked or harmed, or if I was ever going to find my way out of the darkness. I'd beg for help from anyone who could hear me, and I'd cry into the darkness, wishing someone would tell me if I was going the right way. And after a while of walking alone, I realized that in the distance I could see a light, and it was really tiny. I wasn't really sure if it was real or imagined. But I kept walking and I kept crying and begging and hoping someone would find me and rescue me. But I kept going and I moved closer and closer to the light, and it grew bigger and bigger. But now I could see the silhouette of a woman. I didn't know who she was. Why wasn't she coming to help me? Why wasn't she helping me out of this pain, this dark, all-consuming pain? I just wanted to drop to my knees and just give up. I wanted to stay in that spot forever. I couldn't go back, but I didn't have the strength to keep going. But somehow my legs kept moving, one foot in front of the other. The silhouette becoming clearer and clearer. I was beginning to recognize her, to recognize her body and her face and her hair. She was willing me to continue. I felt her inside of me. She was guiding me, whispering to me, keep going. And then I was standing in front of her. She was me. I felt relief as I stood there staring at my body, and this peacefulness washed over me. I was the one who was guiding me this whole time and loving me this whole time. My loving voice, this voice inside of me, and I quickly discovered that she had been guiding me and holding on to me all of these years. Because I didn't trust in myself. I didn't trust in who I truly was. So I became lost and I became disorientated. But my loving voice, me, all of us, were with me this whole time, waiting for me to find my way back again. It's everything I needed, everything I ever needed in this life was always inside of me. Because I can trust in myself, and I can trust in myself again and believe in myself again. I am the one that I have been waiting for. And here we are, number 7. And this is all about forgiveness. And how long have you hated your body? And how much of your day is spent just thinking about your weight and obsessing about it? And how many hours do you agonize over how big your thighs are and how big your stomach is and how flabby your arms are? What if you stopped driving yourself crazy with all of these negative thoughts? What if you stopped hating your body and yourself? What if you welcomed in love for all of it? What if you forgave your body and began to respect and love it for all it does for you on a daily basis? It is time to love your body and yourself again. But what does it mean to forgive? Well, forgiveness allows you to move forward, to let go of those thoughts which consume you every day, and to give yourself the chance to be you. You've gotten lost somewhere along the way as your thoughts have turned into hate about who you are and what you look like. Haven't you had enough of feeling this way about yourself? I know I got to that point a couple of years ago now, and I just could not take those horrible thoughts anymore. It was literally exhausting. I was exhausted. I was mentally exhausted because I tried and tried and tried for so many years to feel better about myself, but nothing ever seemed to work. And part of it was because I couldn't forgive myself. And I didn't know how, and I didn't know the importance of actually being able to forgive who I was and what my body looked like. For forgiving myself, for torturing myself with food for so many years, and even just forgiving myself for being me, because I felt that I wasn't good enough, that my body wasn't good enough. None of me was ever good enough. So I chose to forgive, and I used a very powerful tool. It's the Ho'oponopono technique. Challenging word to say, but it was so liberating to use that technique. It is simple, but it is so powerful, and you can use it for anything. And I use this technique to really forgive myself and my body. And it felt uncomfortable at first because I'd never done anything like that before. I was so used to just hating everything about me. But the more you use it, the better you feel. The more you kind of release all that gunk that's sitting inside you, and it allows so much love and kindness for yourself to come flooding in. And I can honestly say that using this technique, along with some other techniques, has allowed myself to love myself and my body in ways I never imagined. 35 years plus I hated everything about myself, and it feels amazing to actually love all of that again. So let's have a little practice. I want to teach you this technique. It is so easy. There are 4 statements. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. And you do not need to say them in any order, but each statement in itself is so powerful, because your thoughts can be changed at any time. You do not need to continue thinking all of these awful thoughts about yourself, because you deserve to love who you are. So let's just close our eyes for a second. I want you to focus just on one body part. Whatever that body part is that you just really despise, focus on it and say, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. And just repeat that as many times as you need, and you will at some point feel such a release and relief for all of that shit that you've held on to about who you are and what your body looks like. Use them every day, in every way, at any time. You don't necessarily need to say them out loud. You can just say them in your head. Saying them in your head is as powerful as saying them out loud. So whenever you hear yourself being mean to yourself, just stop, pull yourself back a little bit, and say those 4 powerful phrases to yourself. And say them until you believe them, because you will start to believe them. If you can believe all that horrible stuff about yourself, then you absolutely can believe all of the really good stuff about yourself as well. Because you are beautiful, and your body is beautiful as it is right now. So forgive it and love it with all that you possibly can. And this brings us to number 8, your story. And this is where really every part of you comes together. Every thought, every feeling, every belief, all of it deliciously penned as a story of your life. And now, beautiful, we come to the 8th internal obstruction, and that is your story. This is where every part of you comes together. Every thought, every feeling, every belief, all of it meticulously penned to create the story of your life. Where, when you wake up in the morning, your story is there. When you go to sleep at night, your story is there. Throughout your whole day, your story is there. And it contains every moment from your past, from your childhood and high school, and becoming an adult and navigating the unknown, finding love and losing love. all of your friends and your family. It's all there. But your story does not have to have only one author, because there are many authors that contribute to your life story. You know, your family, your friends, you know, parents of friends, strangers, teachers, colleagues, like so many people. Everyone that you come into contact with throughout your life, they have the opportunity to write a few words in your story, or even a few chapters in the book of you. They're going to be happy ones, they're going to be sad, you've got traumatic events and lots of beautiful moments, and they all intertwine as they create memories we either hold dear to us or that we just want to forget about forever. And each story that is written in your book is also influenced by the story of all of these other people, because they are also authors of their story and they are contributing authors to your story. So they have their own story going around and around. So we're all a part of everybody else's story, and we contribute to other people's stories. And really, you may not be able to rewrite stories in what the actual details are, because they've already been written. But it is possible to take control of how you feel about them, what you think about them, what you have associated with that story. You get to decide all of that. And the unwritten theme of these 15 Reasons videos is that you have the power to create, write, and envision whatever life you desire. You get to choose what you put in your story. You get to decide who co-authors your story, and you really get the final edit on the story of your life. And rewriting your story will be completely life-changing. Some people might get pissed off because you've decided to now look at things differently and feel differently about what happened, but yet they are going to be stuck in how they think and feel about it. Because you have decided to change. You have decided that you don't want to live in that anymore, and you are awakening to your true self. And that tends to upset people a little bit. They want everything to stay the same. Especially if they feel like they've been left behind. They might even get jealous, because you have the courage to go within and find the life that you are here on this earth to live. Not everyone is going to allow themselves to find that courage, because it's too hard to change. People don't like change. They'd rather stay in what is comfortable. Because they don't want life to be different or unfamiliar. We like what is familiar. But when you do that, that's awesome. It means that you are learning and growing and evolving. It's really what you are here to do. To awaken and transcend, to find those parts of yourself that are capable of kindness and joy and compassion, and use them to serve yourself and serve others and serve this world. Your story does not need to remain as it is. And I can tell you from my own experience how life-changing it is to rewrite your story. And it's something that you're going to do every day, because more and more stories will show up inside you that you've completely forgotten about. My story is a work in progress. It's never ending. And I'm allowing so much more joy and love and kindness to enter that story than I ever thought possible. I have a whole book inside me that is waiting to be written. I don't know what it is yet. I really don't know what's coming. But I know what I want for my life. And I know what I want my story to be. And I want it to be filled with love and laughter and joy, happiness and adventure, plenty of learning and growth, and so many wonderful experiences and lots of inspiration. There are going to be sad, hard, maybe even some horrible times. I don't know. We can't always avoid those because they are a part of life, no matter how much we don't want them to be. But you have a whole book with blank pages sitting in front of you, waiting for something to be written on it. So what do you want to write? What do you want your story to be from this point on? So to bring this video to a close, I want to tell you that your happiness has been inside you this whole time. It's inside you. Your happiness has never depended on the outside world or how much you weigh or what your body looks like. It depends on only one thing, and that is you. You can be happy and joyful and loving from wherever you want to be, from what you are right now. You can be happy in any moment that you choose, like any moment. And I'm going to leave you with this beautiful quote. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. That's from Buddha. Sit with that and just let it sink in a little bit and realize that all of the happiness is inside of you. So thank you so much for listening. That is part 2 done. That is the 8 internal obstructions. There's a lot, but in the next video, this is kind of a spur of the moment one I decided to do. I want to kind of put it all into a bit more perspective for you and help you to do it, help you to feel it, give you something that you can actually do to release the obsession about your body and about your weight, and realize that you have so much inside of you that is ready to come out. You know what you want. You know what you don't want. You know that you'd like to live a little bit more than you are. That you maybe don't want your weight to hold you back anymore, or what your body looks like. Whether you are overweight, or whether you are that skinny person. Every single woman deserves to love herself right now as she is, whatever size she might be. It's time to stop the obsession. It's time to start living. And it's time to listen, learn, and love. So I will see you in part 3 of this 15 Reasons series. All right, bye, beautiful.